Hello, everyone. Happy Tuesday. Today is March 9th already. And today, very important topic. Well, they're all important, of course, but today, objection handling and the fear of objections and what to say to buyers, to sellers to get the business. I think that this is one of the most important things to learn as an agent, and the most important thing that agents that fail in real estate don't learn, don't get comfortable with, don't master this, because you have competition out there. You're in sales. So I think a lot of agents that fail just don't understand that they need to practice, and the things that they say and the things that they how they present themselves really matter to their buyers and sellers, and they're choosing someone else because they're every agent out there, everyone. There's no one out there that gets every buyer and every seller they ever wanted. That doesn't happen. But the agents that get a bigger or larger percent of them and do well is because they have a few of these skills I'm going to go over in ideas. And a lot of this information that I'm going to give you is straight from Tom Ferry. I love Tom Ferry. He's one of my favorite coaches, but of course I watch Mike Ferry and Brian Buffini and Jared James and several other ones that are on YouTube and have information out there. So I try to inform myself of how other coaches, how other real estate experts do objection handling. Now, I'm just going to talk for about 10 minutes, but I'd be happy. I sit down with agents and go over this for a half hour of things to say. So if you ever want to, I suggest search on YouTube. Real estate objection handling, real estate coach. You'll find a whole bunch of different ways, and then you got to create something that's your own. But there's some standard things or consistent things of ways to do it. So I'm going to go over a few of those. So number one thing that you got to consider is that the one thing that makes objection handling the easiest. Think about it. What makes objection handling the easiest? When someone gives you an objection, like I want you to lower your commission, or I'm going to search, I'm going to interview a few more agents, or I'm not too sure, I want to use my friend or family that's a real estate agent over you. What is the number one thing you can do to help yourself with that? Well, it is practice those. Come up, after being in real estate for a while, that you're going to have certain objections, and be ready for them so you're not scared. When someone asks you, I have this other agent that will do it for 5%, what will you do? And you get all scared and nervous. Oh gosh, I talk to agents almost every other day about, hey, the seller is asking me to lower my commission. I got scared, I didn't know what to do, and I think I lost a listing. I get that a lot. So you got to be prepared for it and practice and things to say. So one thing is you have to have confidence in that you can do it, that that when you get these objections, because there's only so many objections. There's only so many reasons why people don't choose to use you or use another agent or want you to lower your commission. There's a limited amount. You just got to continue to write those down, continue to be ready for them. You don't have to be excited about it, like, yay, they're giving me objection, I know what to say. I mean, you can inside, but not in front of them. But the good news about objections is, what's good news about objections? The good news about objections, they're talking to you. They're thinking about using you. They're testing you. They're seeing what you're all about. They're not ending the conversation. So objections are just questions. They're just questions. The more questions they ask you is greater chance of you. They keep on opening up the door. If they give you an objection, that they're continuing to open up the door. You just have to say the right things. So here's a few ideas of what to think about, and I wrote a few notes down here. Is one, be ready, number one, when you are on a listing appointment, a buyer appointment, when you're talking to a potential buyer or seller for the first time. You got to be ready for it. You have to state, you got to know that they may give you objections. They're not going to go, okay, thank you for calling me, I'm doing business with you, I'll list my house this, and you got to slam dunk. You didn't have to go through your presentation, you didn't have to explain your experience or where your office or where you came from or what you've been doing. A lot of agents just think they're going to get a slam dunk of a client, even their own friends and relatives. Remember, I have so many agents, even my own self, I slacked off and wasn't in the right state during a listing presentation because I thought it was a slam dunk. Thought, this is my cousin. Of course they're going to use me. Didn't realize that his wife or their husband had another cousin on the other side of the family, that they were an agent too, and went with them. So you have to ask questions and be ready for objections. Be ready. Have your A game all of the time, no matter who the person you're going with. Number two, the process and things that to think about is that when you're in the right state, make sure you agree with them with their objections. Like an example, you could say things like, I understand that, I appreciate that. Example is someone, you're in a listing presentation, they go, listen, the last agent I talked to said they'll do it for 5%. Would you lower your commission for 5%? So agree with them. Say, yeah, I understand that, and there are agents out there and companies that will do that for you. And when you agree with them and you set them at ease a little bit, saying, you understand, I agree, I appreciate that you're interviewing other agents. There's things that you can say and be ready for them for that. But I'll give you some things of what to say for that one. So I'm kind of going off track here of the processes, but I'll see what to say here. Well, let me go into that. I'm going to go a few more things. Sorry, I don't want to get off track. I'll get off track all the time. Number three in speaking with people is the transition. So if someone says to you, well, I want to buy a house and I'd like to use you, but my brother-in-law is an agent. So you got to learn how to, I say, I appreciate that, and I understand that you have to have that obligation to use a family member because they're an agent. But you could use that but back with them. But I would love to be that second choice. I would love to show you what I can do for you. Is there anything, are you stuck using them 100%, or is there anything open to discuss? Because I know I could do a great job for you. I know that I'm the right person to help you. I'm an expert in this area, and go through all the lists before they cut you off. Because that kind of thing that you have to practice, that I think is, my opinion, is an elevator pitch. What happens is, if someone is that you run into, so you're networking with someone, you're asking for their business, you're asking if they need help in buying or sell a home, and then they throw that out at you. Usually people don't throw that out to you. They drag you all the way out to the house and do a whole listing presentation. At the end, they go, well, by the way, we're using my brother-in-law. Some of them do that and they don't tell you because they want to see what you have to say and use you for your marketing to check their brother-in-law. That happens out there. So it doesn't happen too often, but sometimes people use agents to come out, see what they're doing, to make sure, the double check, to make sure the person they're actually going with is going to do the same things you do. So you got to kind of watch out for that too, but not as often. But what I meant by the elevator pitch is that you're going to run into people, you're going to be passing out your cards, you're going to be networking with people or talking to people on the phone. Go, hey, I would love, are you looking to buy or sell a house soon, or anybody you know? I would love to be your trusted real estate agent to when the time is right. And they say, well, yeah, I totally understand that, but my brother-in-law is a real estate agent, so we got to use them. I totally understand that, and I appreciate that. Is there something that I can do to keep you informed about what I'm doing? Because maybe your brother-in-law is not an expert in this area. Maybe your brother-in-law just got in the business. Maybe your brother-in-law might not be in the business. But I totally understand that you have that family obligation to use. I want to be the number one choice. Second to that, what can I do to get that business? So that's one of my things I say. There's several different ways, and I don't want to speak do this video for an hour of all the different things you could say in that scenario, but that's just one of them there. Also, there's a pattern. There's a pattern you can use, and I get this right from Tom Ferry, and I wrote this down many years ago, probably about 4 or 5 years ago, that he had a video on this. And then the pattern was, an example was how to talk to somebody when they want to lower your commission. So here's a pattern that I kind of wrote down, is that there's something that you can say, and this is how it goes. It says, when they say, I want you to lower the commission, or will you lower the commission? You can say something like, I appreciate that, and then tell them a story. Try to explain to them, have you ever been in a situation in life where you you bought something or went to a service and you went with the cheapest and it didn't work out. So when anybody asks you, hey, I want to lower the commission, well, say, hey, well, let me give you something to think about. Have you ever had a service or bought a product that was the cheapest out there and it didn't work out? You didn't get the service you wanted, something broke, something happened. Have you ever had an experience with the lowest price of something and it just didn't work out for you? And hopefully they're going to say, yes, I bought the cheapest TV and it broke a week later. I went to service. I went to the cheapest car wash out there and scratched my car. Whatever. There's unlimited amount of things that people have gone through in life. Bought the cheapest product on Amazon and it broke the next day, came broken, things like that. So you get them to at least connect with where you're coming from on being the cheapest. And the second thing to say, and this is the most important part of what to say to them after they agree that they've been through that situation where buying the lowest is not the best, is saying, if you're asking me to lower my fees, you're asking me to lower my service, which might end up lowering the price of your house. Hopefully, when you get to that point of a listing presentation or talking with someone, that you've went through all of the terrific marketing you're going to do and the exposure you're going to get for the house and the experience you have in the market and how you're going to get the highest and best price for the house and what you're going to do to go above and beyond to market their house and reach your sphere and reach other buyers that might not be looking now, or contact other agents, or door knock, or open houses. You have to load them up with all of the services that you're going to do and why you are at a fair market price for listing their house. And when you explain that to them, that your whole goal with all the things that you explain to them, of all the things that you're going to do, that deluxe, beautiful listing presentation explains yourself, your experience, the things that you do, all the things that your company does, and the marketing that you're going to do, is basically explain to them, if you're asking me to lower the price, where you're asking me to lower my service, lower my marketing, and that's ultimately going to cost you something. And that's not how I work. My job is to get you the highest and best price, and then get them to agree. Does that sound reasonable to you? Exactly. They're going to say, yes, that sounds reasonable to you. Hopefully, a majority of the time they will on that. But again, it all comes down to when you're going on a listing appointment. And little side note to all the Century 21 HomeStar agents on here. Two things. One, on 21 Online, in the Century 21 University, there are many, many, many scripts on objections. There's a whole class, a couple classes, I believe, on objection handling, and they have the materials. You could go on 21 Online. There's also a helpline, so if you can't find it on there, call the helpline. It's 24/7 helpline, and they will help you find those scripts for objection handling on that. Or take a class on that too. Outside of me, do both. And I'm happy to role play. I love listing presentation role playing. I love it, love it, love it. So anybody that wants to help with that, I'm happy to do that with you. But back to this. So you have to get them to, number one, agree that they've had situations that they have bought something or ordered something that was cheapest or cheaper and it didn't work out, and explain to them that that's not your goal. Your goal is to get them the best service, give them the best service, give them the best marketing that you're in your ability, get them the highest and best price for your house, and lowering the commission is just going to lower that possibility. So that's just one example of something that you can say to them, and there's many different examples. Every coach, every broker, mentor, always has some type of secret sauce and how to handle objection handling the best. So I'm going to give everybody a little bit of homework, things to do, and here's the homework. One, start listing things, objection handling, that you've already have come across or think that you might have. So if you're brand new and haven't come across a lot of objection handling, think of things that you're going to be nervous if someone says to you, like, oh my God, how long you been in the business? You better have something ready for that. And I've got a lot of good things for that. Or are you experiencing this market? Have you, what are you going to do for marketing of my house? How are you going to help me find a house when the market is limited inventory? Think of all the things that you would be scared or fearful that someone's going to ask you. That means you don't have a response for that. So start thinking about the responses. Reach out to me. Go on to 21 Online. Get those objection handling. There's things there. And then 2 is write out what you would say. And 3 is practice. So you got to have those ready so you know that they're coming. There's always going to be objections on why people want to use your service or don't want to use you, or might be looking at someone else. You got to be ready for it and be comfortable saying it and have the presence and the state that you're confident about your abilities and what you're going to do. If you look like or sound like you're not confident in your responses, why would they want to use you? And then you're going to be part of the 85+% of agents that fail in real estate every 5 years. I don't want you to be part of that. And the agents that are successful are excellent and master and are ready for objections all of the time. So that's it for today. Thank you for watching. Have a great Tuesday, and tomorrow another great topic, Wednesday at high noon. Have a great day, everyone. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.